Brought to you by Naturals2Go, the Vibecast is your gateway to realizing your entrepreneurial dreams.
Hey folks, welcome to Vibecast. Linda Ballesteros here. I am your host today, and we are going to have a fantastic show today. Today we're meeting with Jeff Westmoreland, and Jeff is a former member of the U.S. military where he served in the Special Forces field for about 10 years. After his service, he transitioned into entrepreneurship and began building his business in the vending industry. That's so exciting. And I love speaking to military veterans because they come out with a such a compassion for work and service. So, Jeff, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all mine. I'm really grateful to be here.
Well, Jeff, let's get started with you were in special forces, and so you were in the special forces for about 10 years. When you came out of the military, did you know what you were going to do with those skills?
No, absolutely not. And that's certainly a question even to this day. What do I do with myself, right? Uh, but I knew that the 9 to 5 thing wasn't for me, and I knew as we started, me and my wife had kind of gotten out, and we knew that working for 9 to 5 it wasn't going to suit us, and so we began, just saving as much as we could, and starting. We went down the investor path first, and then that led us down to vending, and we've been about a year in, and haven't looked back.
Wow. So now you talked about transitioning into entrepreneurship. Did you have that entrepreneurial spirit all along that you just hadn't tapped into yet?
I certainly do believe I've had it for a long time. I certainly, just kind of my personality. I always try my best at everything. No, and it doesn't matter if it's silly or important. I always give 110% to like everything I do. Uh, and so that's really like served me well throughout my whole life. Uh,
So when you got out of the service, Jeff, and like you said, you started looking for entrepreneurial activities, what did lead you to vending? Because that's not your typical choice for most people, right?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And certainly, it was just I I always keep my mind open and open to new ideas and stuff. And so I originally went down and I wanted to be in real estate, fixing and flipping. And, we'd started saving and started doing a ton of research. And then also I learned about ideas of buying possibly existing businesses. So I started down the rabbit hole of looking for a vending route or anything to really buy. And that's when somebody had introduced me to Naturals and to start my own. So at that point, I listened to a sales pitch from Gary, and I was hooked. I knew I had to do it, and so we jumped in with both feet, and we initially bought 10 machines, and um, you know, here we are.
Well, 10 machines is quite a few to get your arms wrapped around initially, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But it's Naturals does really good. I will say they do some of the best training that really kind of just got our feet wet right there and just allowed us to really have the confidence to jump in.
So when you think about you place those 10 machines, Jeff, and so where do you go from there? You've been in it for less than a year. So your initial package was 10 machines. Where did you go from there?
Yeah. So after we had bought the 10 machines, we knew that was not quite enough to really sustain us and where we wanted to live comfortably in life. So the next thing you can do is find another job, or you can just dial up the pressure. And so we immediately just jumped in and just kept finding new locations. And then one thing we really my company focuses on is just really taking care of our clients, and we that's where we've gotten a lot of our additional business from, is just doing the best job we could. And that still carries on today, that, prioritize all of our clients and try to make sure they have the best experiences, not just with vending, but trying to make their day better. And that's really paid off dividends for us.
You talk about dialing up the gauge a little bit and dialing up the heat. Sounds like that's your personality that you just keep pushing forward. Is that something that has helped you to expand your business so quickly?
Yes, man. I would say that's helped in not just my business, but all aspects in life. A positive attitude and trying to be your best to be humble will pretty much fix almost every situation you encounter in life. And that's something I wish I had learned a little bit younger in life, but I, even this dumb person learned it at some point in life. So, yeah, just always, trying to be humble, do your best, have a positive attitude, and 99% of the time, it'll all work out.
Mm. You know, Jeff, one of the things that people who have a job don't realize that as an entrepreneur, you wear so many different hats, and there is a challenge almost daily. So, does that positive attitude kind of help you when it comes to taking care of that customer that may have an issue, or maybe the machine that has, something that you need to address? Does that positive attitude kind of support you during the day?
Oh, 100%. And I can even give you an example. We recently had a machine that was acting up a little bit. And by all rights, that, it went on for far too long, which is, unfortunate, but it happens. And so, because we just went in there and we always gave our best and we always were smiling and happy, and it made the whole transition just so much more easier than it could have been. And had we just, not taken their complaint seriously or anything, we could have easily lost a customer. And so, again, just all aspects of life, it really helps out so much.
Mhm. Now you said you started with the 10 machines. Did you locate all of your machines, Jeff?
Yes, ma'am. We're currently at 20 machines now.
Wow.
And then we have self-located every single machine ourselves.
So, how did you do that, Jeff? There has to be some secret sauce to the way that you go in, besides that smile, besides your personality. What is it that you're able to do when you get into the door of a business and you're able to speak to the decision maker?
Yeah, certainly. I like to go in, and we luckily here for us, we have one main competitor, and we've really learned and developed a strategy to be able to confidently speak about their flaws and then what we bring differently to the table. And then we're kind of in a smaller towns too. A lot of those towns around us are about 50,000 people. And so we're able, word of mouth has really begin to spread a lot that, we're not just this big corporation that's going to come in and take your money. We actually care about you. We learn your names, and, just every interaction we have is going to be as positive as we can.
Mm. And that means so much to the customer, doesn't it? To know that they know the person that's taking care of the vending machine, and they want to know, what do you want to see in the machines? So they truly are a customer that you're building a relationship with, right?
No, 100%. And I'm stealing somebody else's phrase here. I believe Dave had this, but we are in the vending machine business, but more importantly, we're in the people business.
Yeah. 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 Super Dave says that all the time, but he knew the secret to building the business. And it sounds like you've caught on to that as well. So, Jeff, tell me a little bit about, you've been in the business for less than a year now. You've grown to about 20 machines. What is your what is your vision for moving forward with your company?
Certainly. So I've just moved on to about a week ago doing this full time now. And so now we're just really going to put pedal to the metal, and just do our best to really expand and continue to, maybe move into another market and just try to grow the business as rapidly as we can. And that's going to be primarily either through cash at hand or considering even financing. going forward.
So are you just providing the vending machines? Have you thought of looking into other types of machines, the coffee machines or anything like that for your customers as well?
Yes, ma'am. We have looked at that. A lot of the locations we service are simply just not ideal for coffee machines. So a lot of places we're getting in are smaller. Some of our best hitting locations are only 20 to 30 man teams, and they still somehow they pull 14 to 1500 a month in sales, and so it's just a lot of consistency like that. A lot of locations don't have a lot of food businesses or anything around them to support them, so it's only the vending machines. And so for right now, coffee has something we've looked into, but it just doesn't make sense for our current locations.
And and so what is the difference between the service that they were getting before, because you said that you were able to go in and replace some of those machines. What is the service they were getting before that when they looked at what you had to offer, that it was a no-brainer for them to make that change?
Yes, ma'am. So, in Five Star, I'll go ahead and name drop them. That's our biggest competitor, and they're pretty good. They're really good. Unfortunately, they we have a lot of surge demand customers, and so they have the older, more traditional vending machines that aren't able to see the current inventories and see the current demand. And that's something we've heavily leaned into. Is they may have like a training day or something like that that pulls in, and they'll run through 20% of the machine that one day. Well, if you don't have any type of technology, or how would you know that without any type of tracking software? And that really kind of separates us. And then also with us being smaller, are able to offer a little bit cheaper pricing too. And so between those two right there, that really kind of seals a lot of our customers as far as their needs on a needs basis.
Yeah, in so many of those smaller towns like that, there's not a lot of restaurants close to some of the business, especially if it's manufacturing or anything that might be on the outskirt of town. Is that what you're finding is a really good customer for you?
Yes, ma'am. That seems to manufacturing is definitely our bread and butter. That we've noticed, that seem to really pay the bills for us. So that's exactly right, Linda.
I love that. And it's always great to take care of those folks because they work really hard and to have really good choices for them when they don't have any other options. It makes you feel good at the end of the day to be able to provide that for folks, doesn't it?
It certainly does, especially because you never know like what type of day someone's had, and whether if they had a chance to pack their lunch that day. So that may be the only substance they get, for a 12-hour shift, right? So it's incredibly important that, we make sure that we're consistent and on time, and the machine isn't too low for them.
So you talked about receiving referrals and it's spreading by word of mouth. Tell me a situation where that's happened for you.
Okay. So our actually number one machine now, we took on a smaller location, and they were really impressed with the job we did, and so then they recommend their two larger locations to us. They were under a little bit different management and leadership, but they brought us in, and we've absolutely just been crushing it there. And we would not have the opportunity to be there without taking a chance on them, and it's worked out fantastically ever since. And then we've
Wow.
also, oh, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
We've also had a car dealership where the general manager come in. They brought us into two of his dealerships, and then he moved and took another position at another dealerships, and so we got additional two more machines. So you never know at the end of the day, we're doing a good job is going to pay off.
And the thing about that, Jeff, is if you do a good job, the people remember you. It doesn't matter where they work. That's a perfect example. It doesn't matter where they work. they go someplace else, they remember you, and they wanna bring you in. And I love that because your reputation is so important, especially in small communities, isn't it?
That's 100% right.
Folks, we're coming down to the end of the show here, and, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube channel so you can get more great stories like Jeff is sharing with you. Jeff, before actually, we actually close out the show, if there is somebody listening right now, you're relatively new at this, and you didn't know anything about vending before you started looking at this. If someone out there right now, whether they're military or maybe they're coming out of corporate, or maybe they just want a family business, can you give them some advice that might be able to help them as they kind of navigate this journey like you did?
That's certainly, yes, ma'am. So one of my biggest advice I could give, whether you think you will succeed or you think you will fail, you are correct. Um, i- if you put your best effort forward, you will succeed in life. You may fail, but persistence is key.
And I've heard you, when we spoke before, you talked about persistence and you talked about that dedication and talked about just staying on track. That is so important in everything, in life and in everything. But when you own your own business, people have to know what to expect when they hire you, right? Jeff, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I am so impressed with you growing to 20 machines in less than a year. Let me tell you, I am going to keep my eye on you. We're going to come back and we're going to do an update with you in a couple of months because who knows where you're going to be by then.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words, Linda, and I look forward to the next video.
Absolutely. Folks, thanks so much for joining us today on Vibecast. And until next time, be sure to go out and live the vibe.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Vibecast. We hope you've been inspired and empowered on your entrepreneurial journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all your favorite platforms to stay connected with the Vibe community.